Hi, Tracy here, counselor, coach, and recovering control freak. At Coach Aligned, we believe that every woman has influence, whether she's shaping a business, a ministry, or a family. And we help women lead from a place of alignment where values, vision, and purpose converge. We genuinely want to see women rise with confidence and authenticity, making decisions that honor who they are and the future that they're called to create. Now, remember the first time I was challenged by my coach to write out a vision for my life? Honestly, it felt impossible in that moment. I was juggling school runs, deadlines, and to-do lists, church, ministry, friendships. The idea of putting my dreams into words felt a bit laughable, to be honest. I was like, who am I to actually write this down? Is that not a bit presumptuous, God? Every sentence I started sounded like wishful thinking, not something that I would actually live into. But here's what I discovered. The way we write vision actually matters. He gave me some really good tips that I'm going to unpack for you. Romans 4:17 tells us that God calls things that are not as though they were. Another translation, my favorite, the Amplified, says that God speaks of the non-existent things that he has foretold and promised as if they already existed. The Passion Translation puts it even more simply. It says that God will call into being things that don't even exist yet. Now, I'm highlighting this because there's a biblical principle here that we can harness. In the coaching world, it's often called the as-if frame, living and speaking as if it has already happened. But for me, I just refer to it as the faith frame. It's aligning our words with God's promises. And it brings his unseen reality into how we speak and how we write today. But here's the tension. Even when we know this, there are barriers which stop us from writing with faith and clarity. Now, one of the barriers is cultural and generational expectations. I was always told that I was a dreamer. Even in school, the very clear message that I received was, Tracy, you would achieve more if you stopped daydreaming. Maybe you've felt that way too, that there's this pressure to stay small and conform to certain roles. And the impact of that is our vision, our capacity to envision or imagine starts to shrink to fit the expectations of others rather than God's calling. The shift, remember the women in scripture, Deborah, Esther, Priscilla, each of those broke away from the expectations and cultural norms of the day to step into God's bigger purpose. Your God-given vision doesn't need to fit into somebody else's box. Another barrier, and it's very, very real, is this fear of disappointment. For many of us, past unmet hopes, dreams, aspirations that have been disappointed can lead us into a bit of a protective cynicism. I don't want to be disappointed again. I don't want to navigate that hurt or that pain. So I'll just dream less. I'll just dream small. The impact of this is that we avoid naming our desires and our dreams because it just hurts too much. And as a consequence, our vision remains fuzzy. But the shift comes when we acknowledge grief without letting it harden our hearts. The grief and the disappointment associated with those unrealized desires. Proverbs 13:12 says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but A longing fulfilled is a tree of life. God invites us to let hope be awakened even after disappointment. When I looked back at my early vision statements, some of the things that I'd written earlier on before coaching, they were full of "I will" or "someday when." But what shifted everything was when I started writing in the present tense. This is the as if frame, the faith frame. I am a confident leader, not I will be. I am raising a joy-filled family. I am creating resources that change lives. It felt uncomfortable at first, not my normal default, and I'm generally a very positive person. It was a subtle but powerful shift. And writing in faith-filled language actually anchored my belief. I felt something tangibly on the inside of me shift. It trained my heart and my mind to expect God to move. I had this sense of anticipation that at any minute, the perfect door would open. And neuroscience backs this up. Research shows that when we use present tense positive statements, our brain's reticular activating system, the filter that decides what information to notice, begins scanning for evidence that matches what we believe. In other words, when you repeatedly tell yourself something, that becomes what your brain looks for. Your brain looks for evidence that what you repeatedly tell yourself is true. Psychology calls this a self-fulfilling prophecy. Faith calls it agreement with God. So when you use the faith frame, you're not just speaking spiritually, you're literally rewiring your brain to live as if it is already true. So let's make this really practical. This is the practice for this episode. Grab your journal, and I want you to choose 3 future goals or 3 future desires. You can use the ones that you wrote in the first episode. Now, apply what scripture shows you. God calls things that don't yet exist as though they already do. And this is where the faith frame comes in. Here's how it works. Instead of, I will be more confident in my leadership, you write, I'm a confident leader, influencing with wisdom and grace. Instead of, in 12 months, I will start a business, or I want to start a business, you could write something like, I'm leading a thriving business that blesses others and honors God. Instead of writing, I hope to one day have a healthy marriage or be surrounded by beautiful relationships, you would write, I'm building a strong marriage surrounded by a beautiful supportive community grounded in love and respect. This is you putting faith into practice, declaring God's promises as if they already exist, and training your heart and mind to live in that reality today. My friends, your words carry weight. Make no mistake. And when you write with faith and clarity, you're not just deciding your future, you're actually shaping it. So here's your next step. Rewrite 3 of your goals, desires today in present tense faith-filled statements. Give it a go. And if you want to go deeper, download the free reflection compass from the link in the bio. It's a simple tool to help you get a sense of where you are now and where you would like to go. We would love to hear from you. So please, in the comments, write what resonated with you, what spoke to you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay up to date, connect with all of our socials, and let's do this journey together. Until next time, it's bye for now.